The official development assistance, ODA, is on the downward trend as main contributors have reduced their budgets for and in recent years. In the year 2024, international aid fell by 7.1%. Most recently, other countries we have seen, and we have seen it even from the United States of America, which is the largest development assistant to the Committee of DSC, to which we are a member, which is accounting to 30% of the total DSC ODA, is withdrawing its support from international organizations. Presidents and Your Excellencies, here at home you have given us a directive. We seize the moment and take every situation as an opportunity to better ourselves. And this is the moment we have to come together and better our lives in a new way and a new fashion. And this forum is that opportunity that presents itself for us to take advantage. Africa's contribution to the international trade remains very low, at less than 3% of global trade, and accounting for a paltry 16% intra-Africa trade. Your Excellency, allow me to say that again. The intra-Africa trade is only 16% within ourselves. 84% Africa trades with the rest of the world at its own expense. Much of what Africa exports to the rest of the world are raw materials, and in turn imports finished products at a premium. The geopolitical tensions and conflicts are disrupting global trade and supply chains and creating vulnerability for the African continent. Climate change, on the other hand, has brought its own challenges of food shortages and energy deficits. Many African states are saddled with debt. On average, the public debt to GDP ratio is projected to be around 64.3% in the year 2025. While Africa accounts for 17% of the global population, 67% of the people live in extreme poverty. President Boko, President Hichilema, we are very confident and committed to your guidance and leadership that we should change the narrative going forward.
The remarkable achievement that took place over the last few months in terms of adoption of the Protocol on Digital Trade is an important step forward. Your Excellency, President, I was reminded of the statement that you made at the AU Summit a few years ago, your first summit, when you noted the challenges that confront the private sector, particularly transit of goods across our borders. You also, Excellency, observed that the digital technology and deploying digital technologies presents an opportunity for us to address some of the challenges that our private sector confronts. It is therefore for this reason that this event is particularly important. It comes at the back of the adoption of the Protocol on Digital Trade, which has a number of very important provisions that enable and unlock the digital economy of our continent with a specific focus on private sector and youth entrepreneurs. Africa is a leading innovator in technology. For example, in the area of mobile banking, enabled mobile banking by technology, we as a continent boast a thriving startup ecosystem that supports innovation in technology and also supports the fast-growing fintech industry. Through digital platforms, the African continent has exposed the world to the creativity of Africans, the ingenuity of Africans, and the innovation of Africans in the area of the creative industry through various platforms for streaming content. African content creators are leveraging digital platforms to build global audiences, showcasing the diversity of our continent, generating incomes, and creating jobs for millions and millions of young people. The challenge, of course, is that where these incomes are generated, the bulk of the incomes remain and reside outside of our continent. The Protocol on Digital Trade in its implementation must reverse this trend and must ensure that African content based on digital technologies and the revenue that it generates, that it resides on our continent. The challenge, therefore, is that we must develop the capacity to nurture and to create an enabling environment for content creators, for innovators, for young entrepreneurs to take advantage of this market of 1.4 billion people. The good news is this: Africa's digital economy continues to grow significantly. Projections indicate a substantial contribution of over 180 billion United States dollars, amounting to 5.2% of Africa's GDP in 2025, and is estimated by the year 2050 to reach over 712 United States dollars, accounting for 8.5% of Africa's combined GDP. Projections, according to the IMF, about Africa's digital economy, its size, and the capacity that our economy has to deliver. In the area of digital payments, the African Union, the AfCFTA Secretariat in particular, working with Afreximbank, have developed and are in the process of rolling out the Pan-African Payment and Settlement System, a digital-enabled platform that ensures that Africa's economic sovereignty is upheld by enabling trading in local currency. The rollout of the Pan-African Payment and Settlement System as a payments platform for the continent will reduce cost of doing business in Africa, particularly for small and medium enterprises.
And we talked about facilitation, integrating our economies, and providing support as governments. But there, I was a bit naughty as a new president, and I said, but we have work to do within our countries, within our regions, as building blocks towards the Africa Continental Free Trade Area realization. One of which was, at that time, we were priding ourselves that we're moving very forward. I mean, we're moving forward to have what we call one-stop border posts. And I did say, why are we priding ourselves of moving forward towards the one-stop border posts? With digital developments, with technology, we should be talking about non-stop border posts. Non-stop border posts. Because technology allows it, because we've agreed to work together, because we can now be able to share knowledge of what a truck packing in Durban, in Walvis Bay, in Dar es Salaam, in Lobito, what it's carrying. We can see it on a single window. Why should we have to stop this truck on the borders? And today we are here talking about the digital platforms that will allow our goods and services to move between our countries. For a consumer who needs that good for their routine business activities, including just to have dinner, to have lunch. So clearly, SG, we want to thank you once more for this forum, that we are advancing, we're reaching consensus within the framework of what we've decided to do. Africa Continental Free Trade Area. I also want to appreciate President Boko's comment, the building blocks, SADC, East African Community, West African Community, Sahel, North Africa. These must fall in line through issues such as common standards, regulations, laws that we need to address. Unfortunately today, President Boko, my brother, you are the only head of state together with me here, so I'll be referring to you. But we must take decisions to rapidly dismantle these rigidities. For us to do that as heads of state, as chairpersons or leaders of our cabinets, we need you, the ministers, to checklist these rigidities clearly. And for the ministers to do that, the staff, the permanent secretaries, the directors in the ministries must quickly provide this matrix of issues, working with the private sector, because sometimes the bureaucracies and the governmental systems are designed to make things not to happen. The assumption is that they're designed to deliver, but actually, when you look at it in practice, they're designed to slow down business. So let's extract and checklist these issues, make them available to our ministers, make them available to our heads of state and government for them to take decisions. Decisions leading us to breaking barriers to help us facilitate trade, investment amongst ourselves. Micro, small, medium enterprises have no chance of survival if we don't create conditions, environment, operating environments that would allow them to conduct their businesses with minimal delays. Because normally they have very thin margins. If their margins are already thin and we are burdening them with more delays and costs, the burden of costs, then we are making them unviable. And if they are not viable and they are suppliers to bigger businesses, we're making the bigger businesses unviable too.